It's time for another Dice Tower review with Zee Garcia.
Hey everybody, today I'm taking a look at Perfect Alibi. Perfect Alibi is a deduction game, think Clue, in which you are trying to figure out who done it. There's a card missing, you are trying to figure out that card, and you are going to be asking questions of the other players and using these special powers on character tiles that you possess. It's a very straightforward game. Let me give you an overview of how the game works, and then I'll tell you what I think of it. Here we go. At the beginning of the game, each player is given a color here with one of these tokens. Here I'll be showing you a game with 5 players, which is the max. And then we are going to shuffle up these cards and remove one, and that's the one every player is trying to discover. The cards have a character, they have a time, and they have basically a room, all of which is on here, and all of which is on this sheet as well, which every player will get one of, so they can take notes, etc. And so we are going to shuffle these up, and we are going to remove one. Again, every card has one of these things. So for example, 9 with her, and this is the on deck, basically. Alright, so we would shuffle that up, remove one card, which no one will know, tuck it under here, and then every player is going to get 3 of these, and those 3 they get, they can mark off on their sheet. And then the game can start. We are going to flip over one of these, figure out who the start player is. That color, they are going to draft one of these tokens, which is a special character. We'll go counterclockwise, drafting these, and then the player who got last pick is actually going to start the game, just to make it even. But for right now, I'll just give one to every player here. I'll tell you what they all do in one sec. And then we flip over 4 of these, and the game can begin. These tokens only come in 2 types. They have the time symbol here, and they have the place symbol on that, and the colors match the player colors. So, on your turn, you are quite simply going to pick one of these tokens. And so let's say it's orange, the orange player's turn. They can pick this, let's say, and that means they are going to ask a question of that player, and it must be about location. And the question is pretty much always phrased, how many cards do you have that are of blank? And so, for example, if we look here at the board, orange could ask light blue, how many cards do you have that are in the dining room and on deck? I could combine both of those. And then that player would look at their cards. So I said dining room and on deck. Obviously they would not do this, but so they'll look at their cards here and they'll say 2. If the answer is 1 or 0, that's the end of that. They say that, everybody takes notes, whatever. If the answer is 2 or 3, then they must show me and just me one of the cards that meets that criteria. So they could show me this card, or they could show me this card. I would write that down, and then we replenish this, and it's the next player's turn. Some of these tokens have these arrows on the side of them, which means after that line of questioning, that player and the player asking the question are going to exchange special roles. This is going to all continue until someone thinks they have the answer, at which point they'll slam the table, say, I've got it, or something. They'll mark on their sheet who they think it is, then they will check this card here, and if they are right, they win the game. That's pretty much it. The only thing I still need to explain to you is these characters here, which are very simple and kind of give the game most of its flavor, really. So the way it works is, this character here, whenever you should be shown a card, if you are this character, you instead get a random one from their hand, which means you might end up seeing something you're not supposed to see. This character here never shows cards, so all the cards are on lockdown there. This character here hears all their answers in secret, and so every time they should be told something, then it's a secret answer. This character here does not worry about the tokens that are on the table. They instead can ask anybody either one of the two categories. And then this character here can, whenever a card is shown, they take a look at it also. So if this player shows this player a card, this player way over here can also be like, I want to see that card as well. So that's basically it. They add a lot of interest to the game. And the last thing is a variant, which it's kind of a heady variant here, but the way this works is you take these tokens, shuffle them up, and you give one to every player, and that card that they get is their nemesis, that character. And whenever you are answering a question and you are answering your nemesis, you can lie about your answer by 1 up or 1 down. This is an advanced concept. I would say be careful with this until you play the game a few times, because the game itself has a nice amount of challenge to it. But that's pretty much it. Ask questions, deduce what you think is missing, who's got what, and once you figure this card out, you are the winner. Ooh. I tend to be a big fan of deduction games, especially when they are straightforward and sort of clean designs. I don't like the games that the deduction gets lost in all of the rules and you are spending less time figuring something out and more time figuring the rules of the game out, you know. And so I give this one high marks for that. It's a very clean design, very straightforward design, but has a nice amount of deduction in it. I do have a couple of problems with it. I wish it included more player sheets. There's very few of those. I'm running low on them already, so I'm going to have to look into photocopying some or laminating some or something like that. And so that's one issue I have with it. It also includes one single player screen. I'm not sure how useful that is. Everybody can take notes all the time, so there is that issue. But that's basically it. Everything else I do like. I like the artwork. I like the deduction aspect of it. I like the variant I can take or leave, but you don't have to worry about it, you know. I think the base game without that weird variant about like, oh, you can lie, definitely kicks up the complexity, like figuring it out. But I like the base game the way it is just fine. So I really recommend it. I think it's an awesome game, just a spectacular deduction game. If you have a family member or a friend or you yourself are a big fan of Clue or that style of game and you want something new in that genre, then I have to tell you to go get this one. Perfect Alibi. 2 thumbs up from me. Really, really like this one.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.